Significant news, too. Mike Levine, covering the Department of Justice for us, is now passing along the name of the suspect number 2. Suspect number 2 on the loose is named Dzhokhar A. Tsarnaev. I believe I'm saying that correctly. It's Tsarnaev, Tsarnaev, or a variation of that spelling, I'm told, from overseas, been in the U.S. for more than a year. Both suspect number 1 and suspect number 2 are said to be brothers. And Gregory, do me a favor, frame up the camera here. I just want to show viewers on this iPad map again, one more time, when we're starting to piece together here, okay? If you've got the image, let me take you through it. This is the site of the Lord & Taylor shop with the red dot here. So that would be near the finish line, okay? This is Boylston Street. These individuals, according to here, at 10:30 last night, they were spotted across the river at the intersection of Vassar and Main. Why is that important? The suspects could have walked west after dropping both bombs, cut down a couple of these streets to Com Ave, and literally gone across this bridge over into the area of MIT, which is where they likely sought refuge the past 4 or 5 days. I make that point specifically because listening to your guest talk there, when you think about criminals who commit crimes, they want to get attention for it, or they want to see the after effect of what they have done. That is position A from where we are here, about a quarter mile, no more than half a mile from the scene of this terrorist act on Monday afternoon. We now have the name, and we have Jennifer Griffin back with us, too, in Washington with more on all this. Jennifer, hello again.
Hi, Bill. Well, Mike Levine, our Justice Department producer, has confirmed the name, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. What I know from the time that I lived in Moscow, Dzhokhar is a Chechen name. We can confirm that these 2 brothers are believed to be Chechen. The Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the man in the white hat who is believed to be on the loose, or is still on the loose and believed to be armed and very dangerous. He is 19 years old. We're told from authorities that he and his brother have been in the country for more than a year. Federal authorities are looking into whether they were trained militarily. They're believed to have been trained militarily overseas. Americans may be wondering why Chechens would be involved in terror acts against the United States. But what we have known for years is that Chechens have left Chechnya, which is really a breakaway republic from Russia that is very similar in landscape and similar in it's a Muslim republic that is similar to Afghanistan in feel and nature, and many Chechens go to fight in Afghanistan. So it is likely that these Chechens, young as they are, may have gone to either Pakistan or Afghanistan for training as part of a larger foreign terrorist network. We have seen Chechens involved in that in the past. So again, Mike Levine reporting tonight from his sources, at federal law enforcement sources, that these 2 suspects that we received the pictures of from the FBI earlier today are Chechen. One of them, their names, the one who is on the loose right now, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, and we understand that they have been in the U.S., a resident of Cambridge, Massachusetts, for more than a year. Bill?
Residents of Cambridge, that's where they've been? Is that right, Jennifer?
That is what Mike Levine is hearing, yes. And that would, and Bill, that would make sense. Bill, that would make sense because both MIT and Harvard are obviously located in Cambridge. These 2 young men, being 19 years of age, appeared very comfortable in a student environment in Boston, and they've been here for over a year.
Yeah, Jennifer, thank you for that. MIT and Harvard, they share a similar town, and they share the same river. They're on opposite sides of the river, though, MIT on the north side and Harvard on the south side of the street there. We're watching screen left. That's Watertown, Massachusetts. That's 10 miles from where we are, about 10 miles from the MIT campus, and we're not quite sure what police activity is taking there, but something's up there, screen left. Now, come out to me quickly here where we are on Boylston Street, because I just want to give our viewers a better sense of the geography where we are. Behind this truck and down the street, that would be Boylston Street. Okay, you go down about 2 city blocks, and on the left-hand side is where both explosions occurred at 2:50 Monday afternoon. Gregory, pull out here a little bit, because the runners themselves would have been going down Boylston Street in that direction. So at this point in the race, they're running from west to east, if you recall some of the video that we were showing you from the end of that race. but we were told by the FBI that after the explosive bags were dropped, that both of these individuals were moving westbound on Boylston Street.
Hey,
You
Bill,
could cut into Gloucester.
Bill, if I could just interrupt you for
Hereford.
Bill, if I could interrupt you just.
Bill, let's sort of take everybody through the timeline of what we've seen since 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, because remember, we were in sort of a 48-hour blackout, really, in terms of information from the police, and then we got this at 5 p.m. The FBI released the video and the suspects of the two suspects as they eerily walked along the street right before they dropped off those backpacks. They're the two men who are believed to be behind these bombings. Then, April 18th, last evening around 10 o'clock, a robbery takes place at a 7-Eleven store near Cambridge, Massachusetts, near the MIT campus, and that's where we picked up that other photo that Bill just showed you moments ago. Then, 10:20 p.m. last night, an MIT campus police officer was found shot to death in his vehicle. Or I correct that, he later died at the hospital from the wounds that he sustained in his vehicle. Then, soon after 10:20 p.m., police received a report of an armed carjacking in Cambridge, Massachusetts. At that point, they were able to sort of pinpoint to some extent where these two had moved. They got into a Mercedes that they carjacked from a gentleman there. Then police say that they saw the suspects as this chase ensued, literally throwing explosives from their car. Griff Jenkins was with police behind that car and was able to get us some video of that as these two suspects were pursued through the streets into Watertown, Massachusetts. Then 1:35 a.m., police announced that suspect number 1 has died at the hospital and that beyond the gunshot wounds, he appeared to have shrapnel in his body, which of course raised a whole lot of questions about where they were off to, whether or not they were planning to plant yet another bomb. And we don't know how the two of them separated at that point. We know that the older brother later died of those wounds at the hospital. Younger brother, we're not sure if he took off on foot at that point. Now, come to 4 a.m. this morning. Police confirmed that 2 men involved in the MIT shooting, Watertown shootout, were the Boston Marathon suspects. That's when we really began to get confirmation that all of this, yes, indeed, did tie together. Around 4 a.m., authorities confirmed that the suspect number 1, who we now know as Tamerlan, the older brother, had died, and that suspect number 2 was on the loose. 5:30 a.m., the Massachusetts Governor, Deval Patrick, suspended all public transit service in an attempt to prevent any further attacks, to prevent anyone from being able to escape the city. All kinds of reasons why you would want to shut down that service on the MBTA. 6:45 a.m., they reported that the suspects are from the region near Chechnya. At least that's where they were born. Jennifer Griffin just reported that they had also moved into the area north of Afghanistan with their family at one point. So that raises a lot of questions, too, as to whether or not, the terrorist instincts here come from something that is more al-Qaeda related, perhaps, or more Chechen related, perhaps. That's a big question that remains to be solved here. 7:15 a.m., Boston police say that they are conducting a controlled detonation near Kenmore Square. 8 a.m., Governor Deval Patrick extends public safety threat for all of Boston, essentially. And then at about 8:18 this morning, authorities identified transit police officer who was injured in the shooting with those suspects. 8:21, law enforcement officials confirm and name the fraternal relationship. They are brothers, these suspects. Then about 8:30 this morning, the FAA closed off the airspace over Watertown. Logan Airport does remain open. They just sent out on their Twitter feed just moments ago that they are under heightened security at Logan, but that they are flying planes in and out of Logan this morning at this hour. Let's go to Washington, where Brett Baer, who has been all over this story, of course, as well, the anchor of Special Report, joins us now with some of what the latest is from there. Morning again, Brett.
Morning, Martha. You talk about this man being armed and dangerous. It is obvious after listening to that timeline and all that happened over the last 12 hours with that shootout, with the explosives coming out of that car, with what they're dealing with now. We talked about earlier that Dzhokhar Tsarnaev may have explosives with him. He may have a stockpile someplace, according to authorities. Those are concerns that they have. Tamerlan, the older one, who on the right of your screen, who is now dead, the 26-year-old, as you mentioned in the timeline there, he was brought to Beth Israel Hospital just after 1 in the morning with multiple traumatic injuries. And the doctor there, Dr. Richard Wolf, said it was more than gunshot wounds. It was a combination of injuries, quote, "We believe a combination of blasts, multiple gunshot wounds." And he said it looked like the man had been hurt by an explosive device and that the man was struck by shrapnel. And he was pronounced dead at 1:35. Now, a law enforcement source, as you look at a picture of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev from the FBI, law enforcement source telling the Boston Globe, actually, that an explosive trigger was found on Tamerlan Tsarnaev's body at the morgue. An explosive trigger. Now, that's not to say that explosives were on his body at the time, but a trigger. Now, that matches what authorities were telling us earlier, that they either, one, had plans to plant a lot of other bombs or many other bombs in Boston for a second wave of attacks, or two, they could be, you know, preparing for what they thought was the end, and they were ready to explode if there was a standoff with police. So these are things that they're looking at, and obviously that is why they're taking all of these precautions throughout Boston, because this guy could move around, could go into any of a number of soft targets, if you will, and that's why people are asked to stay in their homes and close their businesses.
Yeah. We look at this picture on the screen now, and the whole country knows